This is the story of an American hero, a man of the Deep South with strong moral values and a firm commitment to God and his country. Those who knew him remember him as being tough but fair, a man they'll never forget. He was the recipient of the Carnegie Medal and the Medal of Honor, the only person in history to receive both awards. His name was Jimmie Dyess. His homes were Augusta, Georgia, Clemson College, and the United States Marine Corps. This is his story. Dyess thrived in the Boy Scout movement, which was very robust in Augusta in the 1920s. He was a member of Troop 4, supported by the First Baptist Church. In 1925, Dyess was one of 5 Boy Scouts who were selected to represent Augusta on a trip to Washington, D.C.
The train took us to Washington and parked us in the Union Station there. That was our headquarters. Anyway, boy, we attended meetings. We did all kinds of various things while in Washington.
Everything that he's done through his scouting, through his college life, through his life in the military is exactly what we want our young people to do when they grow up and when they become leaders and when they become the future scout leaders, civic leaders, and business leaders of our community.
When people were in trouble, Dyess had a compelling desire to help out, irrespective of what dangers faced him. The date was July 13th, 1928. The place was the beach adjacent to the Atlantic Ocean at Sullivan's Island on the coast of South Carolina. A summer storm had blown up unexpectedly. It produced high winds and huge waves.
Coming along there, and he realized that 2 women were in trouble out in the water and couldn't get back. And others were standing around, but he didn't hesitate. He went into the water and he saved 2 women from drowning.
For the valor he had displayed, Jimmie Dyess was nominated for the Carnegie Medal, a medal that has been awarded since 1904 to heroes who risked their lives in peacetime to save others. He received the award the next year, in 1929. Already at the age of 19, Dyess had displayed 2 of the 3 most important qualities of a great leader: courage and compassion. Over the next few years, he would develop the 3rd quality, competence. The trip to the Central Pacific was a major operation for the men of the 4th Marine Division. These men were headed for long-term combat. For 3 consecutive nights before the main assault on Roy de Moore, the Americans hit the Japanese with lethal fire from an impressive array of naval ships.
But of course we knew from previous experience and what has happened in other Marine landings that this was not going to do the job. And the job was going to be done by the rifle companies that went in there face to face.
So we were in the middle of Japanese territory alone and not realizing. Well, we were caught there for, I don't recall how long. And in my own mind, I thought, this is, I don't know how we're ever going to get out of here. Well, that's when now comes Colonel Dyess. I heard some firing, some strong firing on my right side, very strong. And I thought, what's happening now? Are they bringing up more troops? And I realized it was not, it was our weapons, our rifles, our machine guns, and so on, coming up on the right, and they broke through. And the first person I saw was Colonel Dyess. He was standing there in front of a half-track, standing straight up. I will never ever forget seeing him the first time, standing straight up and tall, erect. He was a man, a Marine. He was standing up in front of this half-track, and the machine gun had raised its fire over me, directing it at Colonel Dyess and the half-track. And the bullets were hitting the half-track and hitting the tires all around him, at his feet and so on. And he never moved, except to direct a man to do this or men to do that. his men came in, pulled us out of this cul-de-sac, or whatever you want to call it, this trap.
On D2, the 2nd of February, Dyess rose up once again to observe the enemy firing positions and to direct fire against them. His attention was directed toward the last of the Japanese pillboxes that was still occupied and still sending out deadly fire against the Marines. Within seconds of the time he raised up, Dyess was hit in the head by a Japanese bullet, probably from a machine gun that was firing from the pillbox to his immediate front. Killed instantly, he fell backwards. On April 26, 1944, Admiral Nimitz held a special ceremony to recognize a few heroes of the Pacific War. He made a special point to highlight the heroism of a Marine Corps private and a lieutenant colonel. The lieutenant colonel was Dyess. On July 18th, an official announcement was made that Lieutenant Colonel A.J. Dyess had earned the Medal of Honor on Roy Namor. As the only person to have earned America's two highest awards for heroism, Dyess and his story may well remain a unique American story for all time.